All right, so this is for the Home Team 512 on the YouTube, right?
Yes.
It's like
Sorry, I was researching.
we do. Our data is so well researched that we just want to confirm it right before.
No, I had an idea, so I was looking it up. I'm trying to prepare for the sports section.
So, rates, as
Yep.
in the Fed
Yep.
just raised the rates. That's definitely topic number one. Dollar cost averaging, definitely topic number two.
Okay.
Okay. Hello, Austin, Texas. You're listening to the Home Team with Troy and Wyatt, where we bring sports and money together for your education and entertainment. If you have any questions about anything we say today, please reach out to me at loansfromtroy.com or give me a call at 855-299-HOME. And as always, this segment is brought to you by Security National Mortgage, where we turn houses into homes by financing
Your
American dream. Excellent. And don't forget, Wyatt's on the Facebook.
the Facebook.
That's the Home Team 512. And this is also on the YouTube.
That's right.
It is the YouTube.
Okay. I'll go with it.
Yeah, the Home Team 512.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is. You're such a good
Yeah.
boy.
You don't say go to YouTube. You say go to the YouTube.
No, you don't. That's all right. You say, yeah.
You say go to Google or you say go to the Google?
You say it's on Google or Google it. Just say.
It's the Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see it on YouTube? Not the YouTube.
No, did you see it on the YouTube?
No, yeah.
It's the YouTube.
Yeah. You just,
It's the. It's
You're
like the share.
Did you say your 1969
And the Sunny.
model? 1970.
I said the 71 model.
Okay. Okay. I'm just playing.
Yeah, and so there's a lot going. There's more to talk about. There's a lot going on. This is the money segment, and what is important about the money segment right
There's
now?
not much to talk about. Not much money. I just like it.
There's so much going on. So the Fed raised a quarter, which we expected them to raise in July. Their next meeting is in September, late September, like the 26th or something like that. That's their next meeting. And he didn't say he would, didn't say he wouldn't, right? This is the first time, because usually he's like, hey, we just got to keep going. So that was hope for the mortgage industry. And we will have 2 full months of data before they meet again. So we would like to think that from his less than severely painful hawkish comments that the rate hiking has come to the end, or if there is one more, that would be the next one. It's kind of the way he made it sound.
You're thinking that he might have a change of mind, is what you're saying.
I'm saying that I think he's finally feels he's gotten to the deal. So, but he has, unfortunately, and this is the part that I hate to say this because this is as straightforward as it comes. Unfortunately, he has made it very clear that he wants to see job market falter. Right? That was all he's talking about. He's like, the numbers have softened, is what he said, which means they have gotten worse for the economy. He said the numbers have softened, but they're not where we think they should be. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
So that means he wants more job loss to quell inflation. That's what he's looking for.
He's doing a good job. He's doing a good job. I know lots of friends and family members who are suffering right now.
Yeah. Well, and the hard part about it is that if you use the normal unemployment number that we have used my whole life, right? Unemployment rate is this, right? It's like still in the 3s, right? 3%. So you're like, well, people are fighting for jobs. No. The job pool of willing workers has shrunk, okay? Because of the pandemic. Plain and simple. So there are a lot of people that quit their jobs or lost their job and aren't caring to find another one. Okay, whether they just prematurely retired, whether they went kind of self-employed and no longer in the job pool, but they are, you know what I'm saying? But they're not filing unemployment, things like that, or they're just not working, and a partner, one of the partners took off from work and now stays at home with the children, right? It used to be very similar. The mom took off. No, that's not the fact. I mean, I know a lot of husbands that have taken off to stay home and take care of the children. So, the houses are reverting back to single income homes, things like that. And so the job pool has gotten smaller. So as we're less and less job openings, I'm lowering my hand down as I'm saying this, less and less job openings are happening. There's less and less people to compete. So that's why we're staying at that record low 3-something unemployment, because there's just less people trying to get a job.
Right.
That's what's going on. And so it's hard. I think it's hard for the government when they see, because they're looking at the 3.9 and they're like, hey, this is 3.9. This number is way too low for us to curb inflation. So we need to stall the economy, and so we can get that number up, right? Well, it's not going up. And they're like, well, I don't know what to do. Let's just keep doing it. Until we get that number up. And that's what's happening. And that's why they're doing it. And the number's not going up because there's just not that as many people looking for a job that are ever going to be looking for a job. Right. So, people have stopped collecting unemployment because they've been on it so long. Things like that. They just fall out. They just disappear. Right. Instead of going into, they're still unemployed. They're just no longer eligible for benefits, so they fall off the numbers. Right. Those sort of things are happening, so it's given the government a false sense of economic strength. Because like you, I do feel I know a lot of people that are struggling. And I don't know a lot of people that are struggling unless we're in a recession. Right. But according to all the data, we're not in a recession. And but I think they're
setting the marks, right?
Yes.
Of what recession is.
Yes.
Are they the same marks always, or is it that's an arbitrary number that they make up each time?
Well, it used to be very simple: back-to-back gross domestic product, right. Below zero, right? A negative GDP is a recession. Right. We had that last year, and they said no, GDP below that and unemployment above this.
So they changed the market.
They did change it, because if they didn't, then last year we had a recession. It was just 2 quarters. Okay. 6 months and it was over. Okay. Someone mentioned to me, he said this may be the first recession where everybody's working, and he may be right, because what's happening is, and we'll just use the tech industry because we're in Austin and it's a big industry in Austin. Mm-hmm. The tech industry was understaffed and they were paying high dollars, right? Well, now everybody went to school and became some sort of tech engineer, software, all that. Well, now the tech industry is a little bit saturated. Mm-hmm. So if you have somebody that you're paying $150,000, and you got another guy who could do it for $65,000, $70,000, you're going to lay this person off and replace him, right? So this person comes off unemployment, this person goes on unemployment, so the number stays zero, the delta is zero, and that's kind of what's happening. So the company has lowered their costs, so they're driving down wages on these overwaged industries right now. That's what's happening, and so that's why everybody still has a job, because I would rather make 75 than nothing. Right, and that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, survival.
With that. Yeah, and with that, so what you need to be looking for and paying attention to is the inflation numbers, right? So PCE, the consumer, the CP, the consumer price expenditure, is how much you and I spend.
Right.
Okay, that's the number. Now there are 2 types. There's the retail and the core. Core is when they strip out all the things they can't control, because the government cannot control the price of oil, theoretically. Things like that. So that number we're expecting the retail number to be somewhere in the 2s, 2.7, 2.8, 2.9 is what and that's a big number considering it was like 9%, a year ago. So that's a big number. We're expecting the core to be somewhere in the middle to upper 3s. So if those 2 numbers come like that, I mean, the work that the Fed has done or has tried to do has been done. They need to let it finish itself out, right? But we'll see, so we'll see. So I think by September, I think that all the data will be out and everything will be what they think it, and they will see it, and then everything will stabilize. Because that's all I want in the mortgage industry is a stabilization, because rates going up, rates coming down. It's painful. It's painful for a borrower, because they buy a house, they lock in a rate, they move into the home, and the next week the rates drop 0.5%. I'm like,
It's painful when you're trying to help people out.
yeah, and it's just, I'm like, well, and they're like, well, what happened? I'm like, well, the rates were higher last
Right.
month,
Can't do anything about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And then they're like, well, let's refinance. I'm like, well, you can't until you have enough equity and you've been in the
Right.
home a year, So those are the things. So having more of a stability in our industry will help, because it's just hard, because as a borrower, you come in like, hey, because I've had people come in February when the rates were in the, mid sixes, and then the rates jumped to mid sevens. They're like, I'm not interested in buying right now. They come back, rates are mid sevens. They can't afford what they were looking at.
Right.
Those sort of things. So those are the things that are happening with this with the Fed kind of giving these signals, mixed signals.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it changes soon.
Yeah. Well, it's it's with everything else, it must work itself out.
Right.
Yeah. And this is, unfortunately, this is kind of it's the backside of the economic boom that was the pandemic.
Right.
The housing market boom that was the pandemic. This is the backside of it, right? Think of it as like this big tidal wave, because big tidal wave comes, but when it washes out, it's just as painful going out as it was coming in.
Sure.
Right? And so it came in, and we were all excited because we were all riding the wave in. Well, it crashed, and now it's all rolling itself back out, and this is the painful part of and this is where I try to explain that yin and yang in life's positive and negatives it always balances out.
But even if they jump in and it's a half a point less the following month, they still do a good thing.
Yes, because the appreciation clock was started.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you start the appreciation clock. We've talked about that. You're going to get 7 to 10%, and in a year from now, you can refinance based off of the new appraisal. If you put enough money down, you can refinance before a year. So those sort of things. Yeah, but again, you've got to get, because if you don't buy the house today,
Right.
I mean, in 24 months, it's going to be worth $100,000 more. We just did the math. You just take 483,000 times 1.07, right? And then that's your new number, and then times 1.07 again. That's your second year. That's 2 years of appreciation. 483 goes to 551.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. I would love to have that on any investment I had in the world. That is $70,000 in appreciation, and you spent 10.
Right.
You gained $70,000 on $10,000 investment. Who wouldn't want to do that? Hey everyone, you've been listening to the Home Team with Troy and Wyatt. We hope you've enjoyed what you heard so far. If you have any questions, please reach out to me at loansfromtroy.com or give me a call at 855-299-HOME. And this segment was brought to you by Security National Mortgage, where we turn houses into homes by financing
your
American dream. See you in just a minute.